Hi everyone, this week we're painting poppies. I have been seeing these gorgeous flowers on the American River Parkway, and I love how light the petals are. They just move so gracefully in the wind. They close up with such grace in the evening. So this week we're going to paint a longer horizontal paper, 12 inches long by about 4.5 inches in vertical. We're going to do a whole scene of poppies, painting a sky and the green grass behind them. We'll go ahead and create pretty much a wet on wet with adding some details at the end. So grab your paper and your watercolors and let's paint together. Hi everyone. Okay, so we are back this week. We're back painting the flowers on the American River Trail. We're going to paint poppies. I was playing around and thinking, okay, how can I take this painting here and we can make it a little bit, paint it a little bit faster than what it had taken me to paint earlier. So we're going to do an abbreviated poppy painting today. I'm absolutely loving the poppies. I'm going to just do a quick sketch, and really what I'm going to sketch is I want to make sure that I'm not painting sky over my flowers. So I am really just doing a very quick sketch of a couple flowers here. So if you're painting with me, if you want to just paint a sketch of the flowers, I had a couple of the beautiful poppies I've seen this week on the beginning of this video. They're just gorgeous. I love them too. We're kind of painting in the peak of the day where the flowers are opened up, which I just think is absolutely beautiful. So again, I'm just moving around. We're going to go around here, painting just a little bit of an outline of those flowers. You notice they have the beautiful tops that almost look like edges of the ruffle chips, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just create their stems here. We always want to have an uneven amount of flowers, right? So I'm actually going back over here. Maybe a couple of the poppies are kind of kissing each other. Next door, there's a little one down here that maybe is not quite ready to open yet, but it's getting close. And so we'll add in a lot of greenery. We're going to actually do the full sky and everything today, which is a little bit different. If you've painted with me, a lot of times we're painting single flowers, but I wanted to do something a little bit different today. So I love the way the poppies too, they almost look like they could be related to tulips, but their petals are just a lot lighter. Like if you go and examine them, so much lighter than the actual tulips, right? And they just blow in the breeze. It's really quite lovely. So I have a couple that are just like fully opened here. Okay, so that's fantastic. So now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it in a little bit closer to, we're going to start by adding in, I'm going to back this up. We're going to start by adding in our sky. And I'm going to just I have some, I believe this is cerulean blue. Actually, I think it might be phthalo blue that I have just watered down quite a bit. No, this is my cerulean blue. So I am just going to go start at the edge, and I am just going to move on down just like that. And then I just realized too, I need to turn my time lapse on. I completely forgot to do that last week for some of our tree blooms. So, oh, you know what? I think I finished the whole thing. I thought, well, that's okay. That is okay. So I'm just moving the sky down, being very cautious of where I have my flowers so I don't paint over them like I did last night. Not the end of the world, but just wanted to make that change today. Now, again, I am painting a more abbreviated style than what I did last night because I was doing some layering. So our painting today isn't going to look quite the same, and I'm going to give you some tips if you want to finish it on your own later too with some of the extra pen details and whatnot. I had started out last night just doing watercolor, not doing any sort of pen sketch. And I'm just going to do a little bit more over here with my color. And then after that, I let it all dry and then did a little bit of pen just where I wanted to add a little bit more detail. Now, if at any point you want to go ahead and just even mop up any excess paint for your sky, or if you wanted to create a little bit of the cloud effect, feel free to do that. You can see I have more sky over here. As far as coloring goes, I'm going to just add in a little bit more color, a little bit. I'm going to spread this around down here, and then I'm actually going to take my yellow. So rinse out your brush really well, pick up some yellow, whatever yellow that you're using. It could be a cadmium yellow. Lemon yellow might be a bit intense, but cadmium yellow will work nicely. Any sort of, even a yellow ochre. I'm actually just gonna do a little bit of my my green. I'm just gonna add where my skyline is, not my, is meets the grass. So I'm gonna put that back here, and then I'm just gonna let that go a little bit, then down here as well, making sure to being cognizant of where your earth line, I guess I should say, your horizon line is moving. I'm going to put that there, and now I'm going to come back with my green, and I'm going to start again just a little bit. I'm going to go right over that, but not quite up to the sky, because I don't want any green in my sky. And I'm going to start very gently doing some of my background area, just moving that along pretty light. I know this is a little bit different than what we would normally do, but adding in some different detail. We're really painting almost like a scene of poppies, and I'm going to be attaching to this right after you finish this video. I'm going to connect the video where we just did poppies last year that are just singular poppies that are really, really pretty, and I might even end up making those into a card. I've been working on some more poppies. They've just been delightful. So letting that green just blend in is what I'm doing over here around the poppy flowers, right? The reason I'm doing this now is because once I lay the orange down on the flowers, it's going to be really hard to get in there and add in the green. So that's why I'm moving that around. Now I am going to tell you, I'm going to just come in right here and just lighten this up a bit, because I don't want it too heavy. I just really want kind of a wash. If you want to add some detail, I'm going to take the end of my brush and almost making it up there look like the sky. I'm sorry, the wild grass that's way far away. Okay, and then I'm going to lay this back down. Okay, now that we have done that let's go ahead and let's start grabbing in some of the orange. I have actually a gamboge. Let me come in a little bit closer so you can see this up here. I have a gamboge that I'm going to start adding on here, and then I'm going to add in a little bit of, you can choose whatever you like. I'm going to go ahead and add in some cadmium orange, and I can show you what that looks like. I also had some alizarin crimson that I was mixing in on the painting as well, which gives it a little bit more of a pop. So here's that orange, and that is really nice too. So you can see too, if I start with the orange on this one, being real cognizant of where that green is too. I don't want to get anything too wet. I'm going to start again that gamboge over here, making sure not to color everything in. Adding the gamboge, and then I'm going to come in with some of the crimson, the alizarin crimson, where I want to show where it pops a little bit more, because I find that when I look at those poppies, they are so translucent. Like, those petals are so light that you can almost see through them when the wind is blowing, but then as the sun shines down on them and they're just straight, what then I notice is that you can see it really like a bold orange. And so like right down here where there's a little bit of that petals are overlapping each other, we have a little bit more of a bold color. And I'm going to go right on that bold right over here. And this guy too, I'm going to just make him dance. That looks so pretty. And I'm going to just drop this into my orange over here. I'm keeping it, I'm a little bit more controlled today. I'm not letting everything blend into one another. I guess I don't usually do that tons, the wet on wet, because I do like to have that distinguished look. All right, I'm going to pick up some more of the alizarin crimson. I'm going to mix it with some of that gamboge, and then I'm going to add it over here and even a little bit up here. If you can make the edges of your petals look like Ruffles chips, you know, the Ruffles ridges on the potato chips, that's kind of what poppies look like. If you look at their petals, right? There's ridges to them, those wild poppies. At least the wild California poppies. I know there's different kinds. They are just all over the American Parkway right now, the trails. Okay, I'm gonna expand this guy. They're just beautiful. Okay, so this is looking very nice. So now we need to go back in there and we're gonna get some green, right? We're gonna really start deepening the colors, getting that first green down and then deepening the color. So I'm gonna go ahead and like right here, I'm gonna start just adding in my petals, but I'm gonna get a little bit more water. We're gonna even add in a little bit darker right in here. Uh-oh, I got a little bit of orange, that's okay. Adding in a little bit darker over here, and then just kind of moving it down a bit. I'm gonna pull up some of that water, moving around the stems though, because I want to make a really distinct stem. So again, I'm abbreviating this a little bit from what I did last night because I was working on doing multiple layers and layering it up. And you know the goal with these videos is I want to paint with you a complete painting in just about 20 minutes or so, because I know how busy life is. And I know sometimes you're wanting to paint and do something creative, but people think that they have to invest lots and lots of time. But actually, we can get a lot done and even learn a skill like watercolor painting, all sorts of things, and without having to invest tons and tons of time. I have discovered that lots of creating in the margins over long periods of time and just sticking with your practice, you really can grow in skills and abilities and learning new things, all of that. So, okay, now I'm going to start at my forefront here where the eye is going to be focused on. I am now going to start all of these petals, and I am using a permanent green, but it's right next to my Hooker's green medium hue, which so they have probably gotten mixed together. So I'm going to just start going over here. I'm going to pick up some more green, and I'm also going to start the feathery little guys that are also interspersed with the poppies, at least where I live. There is a lot of wild grass and a lot of wild flowers. Some people might call them weeds, but you know what? They're all beautiful to me. And they are out there, and there's just lots of everything. In fact, I was running the other morning and I ran through a patch of something, and boy was it all just sticking to me when I came out of off the trail. The trail is gone all of a sudden, just overgrown. It was all clear, and then just suddenly spring showed up. So you can see now too, I'm just creating that grass, and you can go as slow or as quick as you want with this part of it. You can see too, I'm kind of pulling in from that color that I painted there earlier. Also, I'm going to incorporate a little bit more yellow into this grass. So I have that initial layer down. I'm actually going to pick up another brush, and I'm going to grab, got a couple brushes here. I think I'm going to go with I love my size 6 long brush here. I'm going to get this nice and wet, making sure the water is super, super clean. I'm going to grab some of that yellow, and I'm just going to go ahead and just create a little bit of yellow here. The yellow's not going to show up too much because we're going to go over it with green, but I like to create that sense of different colors, because if you look at the grass, it is really all different colors, right? Okay, and you can see I'm feathering this out a little bit, and things are blending together a little bit, but you know what? That's actually okay, because what I see when I look at the fields, it is such a mass of grass and flowers and everything growing up everywhere. And what really strikes out at me are the poppies, right? Are the pops of color. So to a certain extent, I'm not too bothered that my grass is going to be blending together. I have some things that are going to be nice and sharp, and other things that are going to look like a bunch of grass. All right, so I'm going to come on down here. Now, as I come and start to finish this up, I'm once again looking at my flowers, and I do want to come back and do a couple things. I want to come back with some of my stems and make those a little bit darker. I want to come back over here on my edge and maybe make that just a hair more detailed. So I'm going to pick up some yellow and green together, and just maybe a little bit on the edge. I am just going to dab, not too much, because I don't want it to look like a straight line. And I'm even going to color a bit around it. But over here, where it looks like there's a bit of a watermark, moving that around and moving this around as well. Now, anywhere where you feel that we got a bit of paint, any green, just let that loose. We're going to let all of that dry. I will end up coming back, and just like on this one, where we have that all of the different the details, I can come back with my pen after it dries and then do another layer, but it's a little bit wet to do that. But I will go ahead And I do want to add just a pop of color here and just around to some of the flowers. So this looks really pretty. I haven't even looked at our time. The one thing I will do after everything dries is I can add a little bit of some splatters like I did up in the above painting. And what that does is it creates the sense of those poppies in the distance, right? Because they are all over everywhere. And so right now though, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a pause, because if I do too much more now, it's going to get muddy and we want to avoid that. So I'll let that go for now. I'll end up coming back, and then as it dries, I can add just a little bit more pen work and then adding a little bit more color if I so desire to up in these poppies. But I think they're lovely. It's just a simple scene. We painted that within 15 minutes, which is always about my goal. And I think that looks lovely. It's going to be about a 12 by 4, which is really, really fun. It's a fun size. You can use it as a large bookmark or something else. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and attach to the next video of poppies, and I will talk to you guys soon.